He told me, "We need to talk. I can't get in that car." That night changed everything. I found out the woman I spent over a decade loving had been living a lie with a man I now worked side by side with. And the worst part? Everyone around me, her friends, our friends, knew. If betrayal has ever shattered your world, this story is going to hit deep. Make sure you stay to the end, because the revenge, though quiet, was final and satisfying. Let me take you back. I'm 30 years old. My fiance, well, now my ex, she's 29. We met in secondary school. I was 19, she was 18. First loves, best friends. I've had girlfriends before, but nothing like this. This one, she felt like forever. We built our lives side by side, through uni, first jobs, buying our house. The kind of love you think is bulletproof, until March. That's when a man named James joined my company. I'm mechanical, he's electrical, so we were constantly working on projects together. Friendly enough guy. Knew some people I knew. Asked me early on who I was with, who my partner was. I found it a little weird that he asked so soon, but I brushed it off. You do that sometimes. Ignore the little alarm bells when you don't want to know the truth. June rolled in. We had our company summer night out. Drinks, laughter. Missed the last train home, so I called my fiancée, let's call her F, to pick me up. James was there too, and I asked if he needed a lift. He went pale, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "That can't happen, and we need to talk about why." But before I could press him, we were in the car with others, and the moment passed. Or so I thought. The next week, I get a message from James on Teams. Want to grab lunch? Odd. We don't normally eat together. He sits with his crew, I sit with mine. Still, I agree. We walk in silence to a small cafe 2 streets over, and the entire time I can feel it. The tension, the guilt, like something was rotting in the air between us. And then he tells me everything. Back when F went to Ibiza at 22, on a girls' trip, she met James. They spent most of the trip together, not as strangers, not as friends, as lovers. He shows me pictures, time-stamped, smiling, holding hands, lying together on sunbeds, every one of them a betrayal carved into my memory. And it gets worse. 6 months later, after they returned, they picked it back up. While I was working 9 to 5, finishing uni, grinding, building us a future, she was meeting James on her study breaks. While I was away supporting football games or playing Sunday League, she was texting him, sneaking off. And the one that broke me? A regional semi-final match, one of the biggest games I ever played. I remember it clearly. She told me she couldn't make it because she had to work, said she couldn't switch shifts. Lieutenant. James shows me a picture. Her on a day out at Loch Lomond feeding ducks. The timestamp? 13:11. I was 10 minutes into the second half of that game. A game I scanned the crowd for her and never found her. I remember feeling a twinge back then, like, man, it sucks she couldn't be there. Now, that memory is radioactive, tainted forever. And if you think it ends there, oh no. Her friends knew. At least about Ibiza. They were in the pictures. These are people I've known for 20 years. People whose kids I babysit. Kids who call me uncle. My whole reality felt like a dream someone else was waking up from. And I've sat with this for a month. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, could barely breathe. The worst part? She was still smiling at me, still kissing me good morning, still planning our holiday like we were okay. I snapped. I felt like I was one more fake "I love you" away from completely losing it. So I confronted her. Friday night. She's home from work. I sit her down, and I tell her everything. I mention Ibiza, Loch Lomond, James, the photos, the messages. She goes quiet, very quiet, and then she admits it. No excuses, no gaslighting, just this one hollow statement. I always feared the past would catch up with me. She says she had second thoughts after Ibiza, that she wasn't sure about us, but after it ended with James, she realized I was the one. She was crying. I wasn't. I was beyond tears. She says her friends didn't know about the post-Ibiza part. I don't care. I told her I won't see them again anyway. And you know what? She didn't even fight the breakup. I deserve whatever happens, she whispered. I understand if you tell everyone. I didn't. I'm not interested in airing it all out. But I told her. You'll tell your friends. You'll tell them why this ended. I called a solicitor. We're selling the house. Turns out we've got about £68,000 in equity, not counting the upgrades I personally worked my hands raw to build. Maybe that'll get me a decent flat. Maybe a fresh start. I'm staying at my mate's place for now. James, surprisingly, offered me his spare room. Said he owed me that much. But I said no. Not because I hate him, but because I don't want to be near anyone who was ever inside my relationship, even if it was before he knew who I was. I'm done being the nice guy. Here's the thing. There wasn't a screaming match. No drama-filled affair reveal. No dramatic exit. But this was the most brutal revenge I could give her. I took back my future. I stripped her of the life we built. I didn't let her beg or explain or manipulate. I walked away, cold, focused, free, and she has to live with the silence. No scenes, no closure, just the crushing weight of everything she destroyed. People talk about revenge like it has to be loud, explosive, but sometimes the quietest exits leave the loudest echoes. Sometimes walking away without a word is the sharpest knife of all. If this story hit you in the gut, if you've ever been blindsided by someone you trusted, drop a comment and tell us what you would have done. And hey, subscribe for more stories that remind us lies don't stay buried, and karma, it never forgets.